Alright, so today we're going to be installing the Weboost RV cellular signal booster. So if you're like me and you work remote, this is going to be awesome for you. Boost your cell signal, your hotspot signal, your laptop signal, stuff like that you're running off of your cellular network. So this thing comes really well packaged. It's basically an A and a B box. So your A box is going to have steps 1, 2, 3, 6, and 8 for you to complete, and your B box over here 4, 5, 7, and your instructions and stuff here. So here's the antenna, for example, that we'll put up on the top. So let's get to work. Alright, let's talk about mounting this antenna. So basically in the instructions, it sort of suggests mounting this on the ladder. And so as you see, that's kind of the highest point of the van or your RV. And in a lot of RV ladders, they're sort of vertical right here on the ladder, and that's a good mounting point. Now I've got an aluminous rack with solar and max air fans, so it's sort of a different configuration, and the ladder isn't the highest part. This is the highest part where the actual roof rack is. And so what I've done is, instead of taking the brackets and putting them horizontal, what I'm looking to do is set them vertically. So here's the bracket, and what I'm going to do is take these brackets in this joiner and basically turn them the other way like I've done here, so that it'll grab this bar right here and then set the antenna on top of this mounting bracket. So let's go ahead and put that all together, put the antenna on, and let's take a look at how it looks. Alright, so now we have the bracket installed. As I mentioned, I just switched these connectors this way versus this way, and they've got some brackets. You just switch them the other direction, and you can install on a horizontal bar rather than a vertical bar. So, yep, antenna just mounts directly to that. Looks good. Feels very sturdy. It's not going anywhere. And so now we'll drill a hole and send the wire down into the bottom. Okay, now your next step is going to be the cable entry. So you've got a couple different options. You can route it in existing holes you may have on the roof. You can route it through your slider if you wanted. I'm going with option C, which is to utilize their included hole saw. It's just a 1-inch hole saw, and route it through the van. And so what I've got is, I've got a camera back here, and it routes through the back here, and there's actually a bunch of different wiring that I have routing through the back of the van. So my target is pretty much an inch or two away from that to the side of it, and then I can route the cable to where it needs to go. So the cable itself is going to connect through a gasket and a cover, and then I'm actually going to cover that with RV sealant as well, just to be extra safe. And so that's going to land right there. So let's go ahead and do it. Cool, so the next step that the instructions talk about is to mount the inside antenna booster, and I don't really want to do that yet. Kind of want to complete what I've got going on here, so I'm going to run the cable to the antenna booster and then I'll mount it. So I'm skipping ahead to step 6 in the instructions, and basically here's the hole that I've got and I've taken and removed the metal. I've put Rust-Oleum around the hole to make sure to avoid any rust issues in the future. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to route this cable with the short end going into the booster that's inside the van, and the bigger end going outside. And so I'm just going to run the cable first and foremost, and then go ahead and get the gaskets in and all that stuff. Cool, so now we're working on the booster location, and so obviously you want it near where you have power, you know, somewhere where it's hidden away, obviously somewhere that the cable can reach. So here's the booster. It has a back panel that's on it. You just pop this off, and you're going to screw this in to your mounting location. I'm going right here. So screw this into your mounting location, and then go ahead and mount your booster, and then go ahead and connect the outside antenna to the booster. So we've got the booster connected to the cable for the outside, and now we're going to move on to step 6, and we're going to make sure that that cable entry into the van is nice and secure. So as you can see, I've got the cable that's run through the hole now. We're going to connect it here to our antenna. This is the gasket and the cable clasp. And so that's going to go on the hole there. We're going to run the cable through there. And it mounts with these 3 super tiny screws. So we're going to try possibly this tiny drill bit to get those in there as well. But let's go ahead and run the wire and see how that works. So I've got the cable run through the hole, I've got the gasket in there and the entry gland installed, and I'm going to cover it with some RV sealant just to be doubly sure that we don't get any leaks or anything like that. And then it's on to the next step. Okay, so now the hole is all closed up, cable is routed, and I've put sealant on the hole on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and take some of my thin slate insulation and put that over the hole again, or over this area where I'm routing the wires. And now we're back to inside stuff. Next step is to connect the inside antenna cable to the top of the booster, and then route that cable to where we want the inside antenna to be. So we're going to go ahead and connect the cable to the top of the booster, and then we're going to route it. For me, we're going to route it up into the overheads up here, I think. So we haven't installed them yet, but I'm just going to route the cable and go ahead and set up the booster here, and then I'll move it up here when we've got the overhead cabinets in, and we'll power it up and see how it goes. Alright, so I just did the first speed test with the Weboost all powered up. There it is down there. And what we ended up getting was, without it on, we ended up getting 11.3 down, only 0.87 up, and then with it on, 14.7 down, and a whopping 6.07 up, which is a huge difference. So looks like it's working awesome.